Brigitte is the strongest hero to ever be released, and it's not even close. Like, normally that's a joke, but this time it's for real. If you have ever played or followed competitive Overwatch, when Brig was the LeBron James of your team, you'll be very familiar with why. Trying to fight Brig and goats is exactly like trying to fight Mike Tyson with both arms tied behind your back, with the only difference being I'd probably enjoy being punched in the face by Brig. Hell, I'd even let her bite my ear off. So now a few years have passed since they brought a goat on stage instead of balancing the game. So now the question is, how is Brigitte now in Overwatch 2? Well, she's an indestructible monstrosity, at least when I play her, but that's because they call me the Chio of Silver, the Tom Brady of metal ranks, if you will. The 12 on the jersey stands for the number of deaths per 10 I have. Brigitte's abilities all synergize really well together, making her even stronger if played correctly. Oh, and before you soy jack and whine at me on how to pronounce her name, let me just, Hi, Matilda.
Yes, hi, what is it? I'm gonna call the cops if you keep calling me.
Just a real quick question. You know that character you voice in Overwatch 2?
Yeah?
How do you say her name again?
Oh my god, Rox, for the last time, it's...
So let's start this off right. Brig is an off tank. I don't care if it says support there. That's not real. Get that out of there. Much better. As a Brig player, you are a small, aggressive Swedish rodent. If anyone comes near you, you hit it until it stops moving, including the destructibles on the map, of course, because man, does it feel good to just break everything. It's like a fidget toy for people with a crippling addiction to suffering, and I sure don't have that. Getting any kind of hit with your flail activates the single most important part of your kit, Inspire. Inspire is what keeps your team, and more importantly you, of course, alive. When you hit an enemy with your flail or shield, you become the epicenter of an innate domain, and anyone who steps inside of that will receive healing instead of getting cleaved. I guess that's the case, at least, unless someone on the enemy team is stupid enough to try and step inside your sea bear circle. This brings the question of, where do I position as a Brig player? And that's a very complex question, oddly enough. Well, not if you ask me. I personally think you should be in front of your tank leading the charge at all times, like Torb with his hammer, but I'm only signed to pro Overwatch team Ex Oblivione. What would I know? But realistically speaking, Brig has two ways of play. The first being bodyguard Brig. Most of the time when people swap to Brig is when a Tracer, a Doom, or a Ball are running your damn pockets. However, when people do this, they also just tend to run away from their other support, leaving them to fend for themselves. That's not good. Believe it or not, in a lot of pro play, Brig is often positioned protecting the other support. Like Ana, for example. Ana and Brig are super strong together because Ana outputs an insane amount of healing while being extremely immobile and vulnerable to dives. While Brig, on the other hand, just shows the enemy team's DPS what the end of her flail looks like. After you hit your assailants, this will proc your Inspire and heal yourself and Ana while you're getting dove. And Inspire healing paired with a biotic grenade is a lot of sustain. If you and Ana manage to survive a dive long enough for your team to peel, it just puts the enemy in a really bad position. And if they do dive you and your team doesn't peel for you, well, don't worry, you have a lot of tools to help you deal with that. For example, your whip shot will send anyone flying towards you right back the way they came. Whip shot, if hit, is a nice little get off me tool that also procs Inspire. So if anyone does manage to jump on you and deal damage, if you knock them away, more often than not, it'll heal you right back up. Booping people back or off the map is one of the most fun things to do in the game. But what if you miss your whip shot, then what? Well, then you fucking kill yourself. Well, don't do that. That's not the only tool you have to protect yourself. And trust me, this is normally where I'd say run. But you have your shield. And the Overwatch universe just passed a stand your ground law and you keep that motherfucking thing on you. If it wasn't obvious, your shield protects you and anyone else behind it from incoming damage. If it's just a straight hands honest to God 1v1, you can flash your shield in between swings. Now, you can do this when you're swinging normally, but I found it most useful for when a Tracer decided she wanted to show me what the sidewalk on Midtown looks like. Your shield is probably the most important ability you have in your kit that isn't passive. So it's been 9 months since I recorded this, and I am just now realizing I never talked about packs. You hit E. Anyways, back to the video. There are so many unique things you can do with it. Remember that Tracer we were talking about? She's gonna be on you like butter on toast and probably try and hit you with the portable fertilizer bomb she carries around in her pocket. And you can just catch that shit and send it into the wall dimension where it can't hurt you. And if there's not a wall nearby, you can just drop it real fast and put your shield back up to block the damage. Now, obviously, this is really hard, and if your shield breaks before you manage to get rid of the pulse bomb, you instantly fucking explode. So be careful not to hold it for too long. You can also use the shield to peek around the corner to ping those pesky widows holding an angle. Hell Hell, you can even enable your Ana to duel her by holding shield in front of her if you really want to. And if your team dies while that's happening, that's their fault. They shouldn't have been taking fights while you were too busy swagging out on some poor 9-to-5 worker.
I need to stop being baited by you. Oh my god, I'm actually like ignoring you from now on.
And after talking to Crispy, an actual professional player, he introduced me to what I'm calling Brig parkour. I mean, look at this. Forget having Ana duel the Widow, just bum rush her and go bully her yourself. With your shield comes your shield bash. It's not as strong or as rage-inducing as it once was, but it's still a very strong ability. So strong that I don't even want to talk about it. It gives me the heebie-jeebies. So I'm going to hand it over to Brig's voice actor and one half of the hit YouTube channel Smedlings. Go subscribe. Matilda Smedius.
Hey, I'm Matilda, and I don't know why he hired me. I don't even know what we're talking about, if I'm completely honest, but here we go, I guess. Bash is very versatile in that you can use it to engage, you can use it to disengage, you can use it to jump up to the high ground and beat the shit out of whatever unsuspecting widow thinks they're gonna be able to play the game today. I want you to imagine getting home from a long day's work, insta-locking widow, and then getting jumped by a character who shouldn't even be able to reach you up there. Or if you feed into the enemy team to get that widow and want to escape, your bash is a much faster way to get out, and it even provides a little protection. But be careful, because if your shield is broken, you won't be able to bash, because, I mean, your shield is broken. What would you bash them with? Brig really specializes in bursting a target down, because if you just hit all your cooldowns at once towards a target that's like hovering around half health, they just kind of... You can get creative with how you use it, and maybe if you get creative enough, they'll start giving Brig some battle pass skins. I mean, the more people who play Brig, the more skins she'll get. Huh? Right? Or maybe Blizzard still has her in jail after multiple crimes in 2018? That's not my fault, by the way.
Thank you, Matilda. I couldn't handle the trauma. I appreciate you taking the time out of your busy day from running the successful Overwatch team Ex Oblivione to come on and talk about this for me. But if you want to get creative, you're gonna have to put yourself out on the front lines. And this is the second and correct way of playing our wonderful Swedish tank. Like, let's say if your real dad is charging at you, crank some 90s on his bitch ass and have your team delete him while you're laying on the floor. I mean, it's not like Reinhardt's playable anymore anyway, so when are you really gonna use this one? Or what if Doomfist is going to dive your backline? You are an unstoppable force, and he is the pedestrian I hit going 95 down I-74 back in 2006. She is crazy strong, and I'm not even yapping about the meta. How many people do you see that are strong enough to box with a man literally named Doomfist? And Winston doesn't count because, you know, not a man. But you know what makes you even stronger? Pressing Q. When Brig starts yapping in Swedish, you know your time has come. Make peace with whatever god you believe in, Buster, because no matter who you're playing, if you're playing against Brig and she rallies, you're about to get hit with what I call the Overwatch 1 main tank experience, in that you are about to get stun locked and cut so hard your game will uninstall itself from your hard drive. Brig, when she rallies, really does turn into a second tank with some changes to her abilities. First of all, her healing output is cranked up, so anyone in your AoE can't complain about getting healed, but we all know that one Sombra in the backline will still bitch, so it doesn't matter too much. But probably the most important piece of rally is that your bash goes from a slight crowd control to help me. Like, the whole Brig is a tank joke is no longer a joke. You can become the raid boss you've always wanted to be, especially now that you have one of the only stuns in the game available to you. For example, do you have a Reinhardt and he just can't seem to get his shatter in against the enemy Reinhardt? Call you're gonna stun their Rein so yours can get his shatter in for free. This works for other mitigation abilities as well. Diva's Matrix, Sigma's Suck, and even Orisa if she's not golden. Now, dear viewer, what have we learned today? I think today we learned that size isn't everything. Just because you're small doesn't mean you can't be strong. Is Brigitte the strongest because she's Brigitte? Or is she Brig because she's the strongest? The answer is neither. She's the strongest because the dev team was popping perks when they released her. And that's coming from someone who liked goats. There truly is a unique feeling of terror when you're being chased down by a Brig after she beats you within an inch of your life and you manage to barely escape. The type of fear you'd never forget for a lifetime. So, dear viewer, let me introduce you to that feeling, as I am in your walls, Derek, and I don't know why you're laughing, Kevin, because I'm rapidly approaching your location, unless you subscribe, of course.